So you probably follow us because of our concept around green jobs, and you're wondering, how does this COP28 contribute towards green jobs? Well, like I've mentioned in previous episodes, COP is the biggest meetings, perhaps one of the most significant meetings when it comes to global decision making around climate change. And like I said, climate change is just a convener, or one of those things that brings together so many other things: the politics, the finance, the investments, and different things, private sector and all that. And so because of the level of interest when it comes to climate, and right now the future being all about sustainability, there are many things that come out of COP that have direct impact on you and I moving forward. Different kinds of decisions that are made at COP, and I'll give an example. For example, the determination that we should limit the global warming by 1.5 degrees by 2030 has direct implications when it comes to things like climate smart agriculture, renewable energy, the level of industrialization, the kind of skill sets required. And that has a ripple effect and trickles down all the way to the kind of education that is required for you to be able to benefit from those kinds of policy, the kind of investment that flows. For example, one of the major things that happens at COP is the involvement of private sector. There's been a lot of mobilization or push towards mobilization of private sector or private sector funding to make sure that they are significantly involved when it comes to climate finance. And so that has direct impact in terms of creation of jobs, in terms of specific areas that they would probably be interested in investing in as private sector. But then on the other hand, it determines the country's investment in terms of priority areas. For example, if right now there are heavy rains that are going on in the eastern part of Africa, and of course a lot of the countries are affected by floods. And so suddenly there's a redirection of funds, emergency funds, but also sometimes a rebudgeting to make sure that there's a reallocation of funds to address the issues or the challenges that come up, whether it's health challenges, for example. Sometimes there's a breakout of cholera and you have to find a way to mobilize funding towards that. And that, again, has a trickle-down effect when it comes to jobs, because wherever the money is, that's where the jobs are. And so decisions like prioritization of renewable energy is pushed down to different countries, meaning that the more there's a push towards renewable energy, the more there's a need for renewable energy skills. And so engineers, construction, one of the largest portion of work that comes from the energy sector is actually construction. So you find that there'll be more opportunities when it comes to construction, or those that are in the construction field. And then you have in climate smart agriculture, the more there's a push towards food security and a push towards regenerative agriculture, it translates and trickles down to farmers or smallholder farmers and different kinds of farmers that are supposed to now benefit from those kinds of policies. Right now, there's a major push from the SDG perspective, as well as from the climate perspective in terms of COP, around data, around the use of data to make decisions, whether it's early weather warning signs or just the use of data like AI tools to be able to address the issue of whether it's heat in terms of different cities that are significantly affected by heat, or other cities that are affected by floods, or different kinds of crops and where they grow, how well they do. There's a lot of use of AI to address the issues or to even make decisions and be able to advise governments on different policies and just what kinds of interventions would also be used. Right now, around the carbon markets, the more there's a push around standardization and regulation of carbon markets, there's a lot of opportunity in that space as well. So every single decision that is made at COP is a policy decision that is then adopted by different countries in their NDCs and then has a direct impact on where the money goes and therefore where the jobs are. Your job, young person in Africa, is to make sure you know what is coming down the pike, to understand what are the jobs that are being pushed for, what is coming out of this COP, for example. If they introduce a need, for example, this is a very wild thought. I don't think it's going to happen in this COP, but a very wild thought around global standardization of carbon markets to make sure that they are compliance as opposed to voluntary. If you don't know what that is, please look out for our episodes on carbon markets. But if there's a push around that, there's a sudden need for carbon projects. And of course, Africa benefits because there's a lot of, we have a lot of the carbon sinks and many other advantages that give us an edge or give us an added advantage when it comes to carbon projects and generation of carbon credits. And suddenly that creates jobs. So there's a lot of things that can be said around job creation, and any decision that is made at COP will definitely affect you. Green hydrogen is one of those that is being championed. Green industrialization. All this translates to jobs. But of course, there's that nexus between, or that cog that is required around leadership and decision making, and of course, implementation of those decisions, finance, and many other factors that would affect how fast and how many jobs are created.